Hey guys, I'm standing here in front of the Widowmaker. It's been in the shop for quite a while. It's looking pretty dusty, and today I'm going to be stepping outside of my comfort zone and doing something I haven't done before. I've been looking at the Widowmaker for a while now, and the prognosis isn't good. I showed you guys before that it does have a big dent down here and a crack in the bodywork, and on the other side there's been a flake of paint. Well, you can't even call it a flake. It's a chunk of paint that has just been hanging on for dear life, and it has finally fallen off. So I can't drive it like this. I can't take it to car shows. So in this video, I am going to be doing something I've never done, and that is going around and blending the paint. So doing the body work and blending out the paint, wet sanding, and making it back to show quality. Hopes. But I've always said there is only one way to learn how to do stuff, and that is to just pick up the tools and start doing it. So if I can do this and be successful, it's going to take my confidence up for my next paint job. And hopefully one day I can call myself a painter. Right now, you know, I do what I can. I've painted lots of stuff, but I've never tried to paint something and blend it into the existing paint. So what we're going to do is this spot here, there's a dent here, so I am going to strip all of the paint and bodywork back to bare steel. We're going to shrink this area to bring it back out, because even on the inside you can feel the dent. This was a battery charger that got kicked over on the car well before I got it. And I just want to just put it out there that I never did any of this damage myself. When I bought the Widowmaker back, it was already damaged, so I'm just dealing with it. Last year I accepted it for what it was, and I was the first person to like say, look at this damage, you know, and most of the times people would be like, oh, I didn't even notice. But I felt so ashamed that I felt like I had to point it out. So I don't want to do that this year. I'm hoping that this is going to turn out good. I think that I have got enough knowledge to be able to make this happen, but here we go. So right here is the body damage on the bottom of the cowl. That right there is where the battery charger hit and put a big dent and cracked the bodywork. So hopefully, because I did notice that it's about 3/16 of an inch thick there, that I can shrink the metal here and actually bring it all out, and then we can use a little less filler to fix that spot. I really don't want to get into the red, but as you can see, the crack is coming very close, so I might have to do a little something here. But doors are gonna have to come off, and well, again, I'm not looking that forward to this, but this over here is what is pushing me to have to do the work. Last year, this was hanging on for dear life. I got into a rainstorm after I did a show in Quesnel, and it literally, when I looked behind my Dodge at the car that was on my open trailer, you couldn't even see the Widowmaker. It was just getting blasted by tire wash, and just, it was incredible. So it really did a number on that spot right there, and it really actually folded it over, and now it has fallen off. So this spot here doesn't look like there's any filler in there, so I'm hoping that I can just kind of sand it out and maybe put a tape line along here and paint from here down to here. I was kind of thinking about ending right here. I learned a little trick where you could take some tape and you like curl it around so you don't get a hard paint line. So I'm gonna try that. So I'm gonna paint black to here, and then I'm gonna retape it off back here, and I'll spray clear coat. So the clear coat goes on to the existing clear, then I can wet sand it, hopefully make the lines all disappear, and I'll polish it all back up. There's nothing else to say but to just get started. This is my favorite car, and I just want it to be just as good as it can possibly be. I did talk to Blair Mike's Blair about helping me paint it, and he was all for it, but he's busy. Everybody's busy. I can't wait no longer. I'm just going to do it. So here we go. Wish me luck. So I figure I better start by taking the doors off. And they're pretty easy. A few screws in here and they'll come off. I've never been scared to like tackle something for the first time, but when it comes to this car, I really want it to be top notch. So I would have rather had help by a professional, but you know, people are usually busy and I just can't wait any longer. And I'm pretty used to doing stuff on my own anyway. So I'm down to the last screw and I just don't want this door to fall over. Ooh. Not a light door, small door, but it's heavy. Got a little chunk missing there. Part of me is like, go all the way up to the top, but I do see a little bit of damage right here above the body line. I really didn't want to go up above it, but I might have to. We're gonna see. I'm gonna start down here, and maybe as I go and get started, you know, I'll start getting in the groove, and I'll feel more confident to maybe do a line here and blend it out up top. But I do know that at some point I'm gonna have to paint the whole car. So part of me is like, just do it to the belt line this year, and next year deal with painting the whole thing. Because I'd like to take the whole body off and redo the whole car. I'd like to inset the doors. A lot of people ask me about the doors and how they're flush on the front. You got this big hinge right here and they overlap on the outside of the body, and that's the way that Essex came back in 1926. So I left it like that when I built it. But I would like to kind of maybe flush the back of the door and make it so it was a lot smoother. Maybe do some internal hinges. And to do that, I would have to really dig into the paint anyway. So at that point, I would paint the whole body. So maybe I will do that. Ooh, missing a big chunk of paint right there. I didn't notice. Oh, this job's getting bigger and bigger. Oh yeah, I see a little crack there too. Damn it. All right. I should remove the tire as well, probably. But I think I'll hold off on that for now, and I can just start whittling away at this. You guys ever wonder why I wear my bandana around my neck? This is why. Works good as an air filter. I'm going to see if I can't just start smoothing down this line here, or just, I don't know, see if we can get some of the rust out of here. Not sure if this is the right procedure. This is the way I'm going to do it. Most of this is going to get stripped, and hopefully all of this will just get kind of scuffed. We'll see. Just feathers out. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are just screaming at me saying I'm doing it wrong already, but you know, I'm doing, you know, what I can. But I'm gonna have to take the tire off because it's in my way. I'm starting to think that there is quite a bit of filler and it's all down towards the bottom. I'm not sure why that flaked off there. I do notice the tiniest little crack right there. So I'm not sure if moisture got down into that or what happened, because it definitely never got hit. Well, I've just got started and I'm already feeling a little bit overwhelmed. It is definitely getting worse. I just had a little chip come out right here, and now pulling this tape back, you can see that is not looking good. And you see that little line right there? I have a feeling by the time I'm done, I'll be all the way up this side. Like, how far do I chase it? Why that's happening, I just don't know. But my hopes of just going to the tape line are now gone. And I'm starting to realize that I will be going all the way up to there. So I'm gonna have to remove these taillights. Leave a comment down in the comment section if you know why this is delaminating like that. Was there some kind of grease below? Is it just crappy bodywork? I don't know. The whole vehicle was painted with matrix paint. Now I feel like, you know, matrix paint's probably all right, and it's delaminating right from the bottom. So I don't know, but how far do I go? So I don't want to be repainting the whole thing. So at some point I need to stop, and I've already noticed way up at the corner, there's something going on right there as well. And I'm just not liking the looks of it. So looks like we're going to be sanding all the way up into there, unfortunately. I don't want to pull this off. Maybe I can like keep this, because you know, I don't want to do all the body work in there. Maybe I can just sand right to there and it will, I don't know. Maybe. Well, I started sanding up here and I come to a conclusion. You know what? I'm going to chip this piece off here and I'm going to do whatever I've got to do to make this right. So that's just the way it's going to be. There's no point in just, you know, pussyfooting around it, I guess, with a lack of better words. Let's just get in here, see how big of a chunk rips off, and deal with it. Ooh. Like right down to the steel. I don't like it, but this is the way. Oh, look at that. Why? I'm not going to go any further down here, because what I'm going to do is right here, you see how I severed it along here? I think now that I see this, I'm just going to sever it all the way across. Hopefully this will start going away. It almost seems like it's an eggshell on the outside of the body, like not attached at all. This is incredible. Like, quit peeling off already. So as I'm making progress here, I am building confidence. I'm starting to see things a little bit more clearly. I'm definitely more involved than I wanted to be. But what I am starting to notice as I'm sanding and building up my confidence in what I'm doing is things like this. You can see this right here, that it's kind of like flaky looking almost, where as I'm sanding, it's still flaking off. But areas like this are blending away pretty nice. So I'm now going around in any spots that I see that are kind of like flaking away, I'm continuing to sand back a little further, like here a little bit still. I'll probably remove all of this, come down more here. I got rid of all of that. I'm gonna come around the back a little bit more to get rid of this. And up here, there's a little bit as well. Once it starts to all feather out like this, I feel like I'm in a good spot. Then we are going to put some like epoxy primer. Maybe it's not epoxy. I'm not sure what kind of primer it is, but I'm gonna put a primer over the bare steel, what the paint guy told me to use. And then I'm going to put some body filler and hopefully just a skiff, and we're gonna block that out. Then we'll put some high build, we'll block that out, and then we'll start painting it black again. But I'm learning. Like I said, leave a comment. Beat up the process that I'm doing. It's all gonna make me better. So I just scuffed everything up with 40 grit. I felt like I should really give this bare steel some good like bite. So I've got scratches going this way, scratches going this way. I did it all by hand, so it wasn't such a fast rotation with the orbital. So it's pretty roughed up now. So I'm gonna spray this with some epoxy primer, then we're gonna let that sit, and we're gonna add just a skiff of body filler, because I can feel there's a little bit of like distortion, I guess you'd call it, because this here is lower, this is a little bit prouder, so I need to just put a little bit of filler in here. Then we'll block it by hand, same on the top, and well, then we're gonna high build, then we're gonna sand some more, then we're gonna do some black, and then some clears, and then some wet sanding, and then some polishing, and you know, another 8 to 10 hours, we'll have it done. Maybe a little less than that. But I'm feeling good. Quick wipe down. We'll throw on some primer. There we go. Nice and clean. Let's let the epoxy primer dry and we'll go prep the other side. Now that the epoxy primer is drying on the other side, my confidence is at an all-time high. It's time to knock this side out. I'm gonna bring the grinder over with a flapper disc, knock this down to bare steel real quick, do a few shrinks, knock that dent out, and bring the sheet metal out just a little bit so we're gonna have less body filler. I wanna do both of these trouble areas at the same time. It's gonna be the most efficient. So let me grab a grinder, strip this down, see what we've got underneath. If I remember right, there was kind of a little funny line, or there was something going on over here, and I think that's why it had this thicker Bondo in this area, but I can't quite remember. But we're gonna find out real quick. Decided a wire wheel might be better for this job, for taking it down quick. Went and got myself some gloves because, well, that thing peels the skin off pretty quick. And as you can see, it's a little bit big for my wee little grinder. Let's get started and see what we got. Holy Bondo, Batman. That was about 3/8 of an inch thick all along there. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fix it. There's definitely something funny going here. I can access this part, but I can't do anything about down there, so I'm just gonna have to do a blend. I do believe I will be able to push it out maybe 1/8 to 3/16, but wow, that was thick. I'm gonna grab some tools, see if I can't just bring the sheet metal out a little bit and kind of go from there. That's a tough spot, but we'll get her. So I've just come to realize that I'm not gonna be able to push much of this sheet metal out. I have tried up in here, but right here, it's like attached on the inside. I can't get in behind it to push it out, and it's kind of sunk in right here. So it's kind of bulged out a little bit and then pushed in, and I've come to realize that there's nothing that I can do about that. So my thought process is here now that I've just been peeling back the layers of the onion. I want to expose the bare steel, the Bondo, the black paint, and the clear. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to epoxy primer the bare steel. Then I'm going to come from here to here with body filler. Then I'm going to come back with high build primer, and I'm going to go up a little higher, and I'm going to high build it. Then I'm going to block it out so I can paint it black, clear it, wet sand it, polish it, and just blend it all away. So this is where I'm at. You guys are gonna see my final progress or process or results, I guess, and you're gonna critique me, you're gonna criticize me, and in the end, I'm gonna be better for it. So I'm gonna carry on, you're gonna continue to watch, and at the end of the video, make sure that you leave your comments and tell me a different process that I could use to make my final result better. And I might add that step into my process to make myself better. And hopefully we're all gonna learn from what I'm doing here today in this video. Yeah, primer's drying, it's time to start adding some layers back. I'm gonna start with short hair fiberglass because I did notice that all around here, there's short hair fiberglass. So we're gonna start with that, probably put about 1/4 of an inch in, and then I'm gonna add a few layers of body filler. It's gonna be about 3/8 of an inch right here, definitely thicker than I would have liked. But I think at some point there was a repair because this section is welded, so I can't pull it out. Unfortunately, that's just the way it's gonna be. So we're gonna use the short hair fiberglass first, and then go to body filler, and so on and so forth until we fill this big void. I'm happy with the results of that short hair fiberglass. It's a good first step. It's gonna give a lot of strength to that area. If I remember right, this is the only trouble area on the car, and I should have taken the time to fix this repair properly. But when you're filming a TV show and you have to hit certain deadlines, you have to skip a few steps. And it wasn't rotted through, so I left the old repair there, where I'm starting to realize that I should have fixed it, but I just didn't have the time. So now I'm dealing with this. I think that looks pretty good. As far as Bondo goes, I'm pretty sure the max thickness that you're supposed to have is 1/4 of an inch. I'll be well under that now. So this is about probably 1/4 of an inch thick, only in that deep area right there, and then it feathers off. So if we put just maybe a 1/8 skim, we'll be from nothing to 1/8 to nothing kind of thing. We'll be in good shape to start putting a little bit of high build primer on it, start sanding that down, and get ready for paint. Now on this side, there's a lot less filler needed. I can feel with my hand, there's a little bit of a low right along there, and there's a little bit of a low here. I don't think I'm putting any filler up in this area. I think I'm just going to high build primer that later to block it out. So this should be pretty straightforward. I don't want to overdo it because I don't want to spend hours sanding unnecessarily. So little bit there, leave it alone. Well, that didn't quite go as planned. That stuff kicked fast. It's pretty hot here in the shop. It's hot outside. I think I put a little bit too much hardener, but I got a first layer on there. I don't think I needed it up there. I think I'm gonna be sanding a little bit more than I needed to, but this stuff sands pretty easy. I made sure I got good body filler. I don't like obviously I tried to get a little bit extra there and it was already kicking too much. So I'm gonna sand this down in about 20 minutes or so, or whenever it's hard enough to sand, and we're gonna have to spread on another layer. I feel like it's bonded good, so it's fine. I just left myself extra work. It kicked off so fast. I just wasn't ready for it. I should have put less hardener in my body filler. I'm learning. Okay, I'm a little bit happier with that. Now that can mean one of two things. Either I learned something and improved on my mixing ratio, or I didn't put enough hardener in and it's not gonna cure. Only time will tell. I think I'm really starting to get a hang of this. Guide coat's down. I'm cross hatching, and you can see we got a little bit of a low there, little spot there, little bit here. I'm working it out. It's almost close enough for some high build primer, and then I'll continue sanding. First coat of high build primer. And I better get this car covered up a little bit better. I don't want to get too much overspray in here. Before, just a little bit I was spraying, I wasn't too concerned about it, but now with the high build, I see that it's a lot more airborne. So I need to address that before I move forward any more. This side's getting pretty close as well. A couple more touch-ups and I'll be ready to do my final sand and start high build primer. I'm really starting to build my confidence. I'm quite enjoying it. I like learning new things. The only thing that you guys are probably screaming at me about right now is the lack of covering on the car. So we're gonna address that, right? Meow. I'm feeling really good about what I've done so far. I've taken the high build primer to 400 grit. All I have left to do is take this paper off, give it one last sanding, pull all this off, plastic everything, tape it off really well so I don't get any overspray on the rest of the car when I spray my black and my clear coat. Confidence is at a 9. So I've been working on finishing up this side and I got one little trouble spot right there. It keeps reacting and kind of, well, you can see it's like lifting. Not sure what's going on. Everywhere else it lays down nice right there. I don't like it. I guess that's just what I'm saying. I just don't like it. I'm gonna sand it out again and see what's going on. Maybe I gotta sand this up a little bit more. Maybe there's something trapped in there. I don't know. But I can't finish this side off until that goes away. It's one thing I've learned with paint is you really gotta have all of the right bases. Everything's gotta match or it reacts. I don't know what is going on here. All I can think of is I've been using this final wipe to wipe this down before I put the primer on. And maybe for some reason, it's not drying right there. Maybe it's a little bit cracked up and some of that final wipe is going in the pores and I'm not waiting long enough. So this time I'm gonna sand it out. I'm going to final wipe it down clean. Then I'm gonna wait like 10 minutes before I spray the primer on and see if that makes any difference. You see it, as soon as I sand it, it just isn't sticking very good right there. Leave a comment below if you know what might be causing that. It's only in the one spot. If I can get rid of it, I can finish this thing. Well, I'm going backward steps now. I've been sanding. I found it was a little gooey in here, sanded a bit more. You can see I've exposed this. I'm almost all the way down to the Bondo layer. I'm just not sure. Everywhere else is good, except for right there. Was I putting too much high build primer on and not letting it completely dry maybe? Like I'm trying to be patient, but right in here, there was a little bit of a low spot that I was trying to fill a little bit with high build. Maybe that is the wrong thing to do. So I feel like I got two options. Number one, I go and I put some epoxy primer over that spot and then high build it and carry on. Or I sand down a little bit deeper back to the Bondo and I put a skim of Bondo over that spot. I'm kind of thinking that might be the better route to go. But if you guys know what the cause of this is and what the solution, the right solution would have been, leave a comment below. Help me out. I'll definitely read it and add it to the steps that I do when I'm doing something like this. You can just see that there's just this funny spot right there that's not doing what I want it to do. So I'm gonna sand her back down, a little skip of Bondo, and hopefully we're gonna be able to carry on. Okay, I'm done for the day. I primed it. I think the problem is I'm just not patient enough right now and I'm putting on too many layers too fast. I need to let this dry completely before I move forward. That's the only thing I can really think of, because when I did start sanding it heavy again, it was a bit mucky underneath. Maybe that's why it was kicking. I don't know, but you know, you can just see, you can just see that little line across there. So I'm not 100% sure that putting this primer on is the right thing to do, but that's what I'm gonna do. So I don't know. I'm sure by the end of this video, once you guys leave comments, I will have a better understanding on exactly what I should do in this scenario. The other side went so good. And this is above where the damage was. I was working down here. All I've been doing is sanding up here, put some primer on, sanded it. I just don't understand why it's acting so funny right there. But we'll try again tomorrow. So you guys have missed a few hours. I've been sanding and working to make this perfect, and I think I am there. I'm just about ready to throw the plastic back over, expose just the areas where my blends are going to be, break out the black paint and the clear, and finish this thing. I've got a few vehicles to move over here in the shop, and then we'll be ready. Now, this is my plan. I'm going to come in with the black, and I'm going to put like a dusting over the primer. Then I'm going to do a good coat of black, and slowly, you know, I'm hoping to only have to do 3 coats, but we'll see how many it takes to completely cover the primer. Each coat is going to slowly step up till about the bend here. I feel like this bend is going to help me hide my blend. Then I'm going to come back with clear, each time going a little bit higher. Probably my last coat of clear will be probably about here. I've sanded the car out to center just because if I'm going to have any overspray, which I will, I don't want to have a hard line, and it needs to be prepped so it sticks good. Then I can come back in and wet sand the whole car before I polish it all back up. Now, that's just what makes sense in my mind. I might be wrong. Any of you guys that are professionals, maybe leave a comment below, give me a couple tips. I would appreciate it. I have learned so much making this video. It's incredible. My confidence is a lot higher. Over here, I did have a few problems, but I was able to figure it out. And I think what I ended up doing, like I was saying in the beginning of the video, it was like peeling back the layers of an onion. And I feel like that was good when I was putting on the short hair fiberglass and the body filler. But when I came back with the epoxy primer, I didn't quite go high enough, and it was the black paint under the clear that was exposed, and when I went over it with the high build, that's when I ran into the problem. So what I should have done is went epoxy primer higher, overlapped onto the clear, and then went to the high build. It kind of like seals it in. I look at it now like an eggshell. So if I was going to do a real high-end paint job, now I might be wrong, and I'm sure you guys are going to correct me on this, but I would put the epoxy primer over the whole car and all of the bodywork, and it would be like an eggshell under the paint. Now, that's just what's making sense in my mind right now. I am no professional, but one day I would like to call myself a painter, maybe. Today, you know, I'm doing what I can. I'm working through it. My confidence is through the roof. All I need now to do is lay this paint on flat with no runs and get my clear going. I've done the same thing here. I've sanded to about center. You know, roughly 800 grit is what I've left it at, because my plan, again, on this side is going to be bring the black to here, then to here, and end in the bend here. You see how the light kind of is bending right here? I feel like right in here, it's gonna hide my blend the best. So I'll bring black right up to here, feathering it out, and then my clear will go over it. Second coat and third coat will be somewhere here, with any overspray settling here. So my tape line will be, well, probably right about here. So I don't want to see any hard lines. That's the reason why I've sanded back so far. I feel like I have a lot more sense on what I'm doing. In the beginning, I was quite nervous about this, and now I feel pretty good. I'm so proud of myself for picking the tools up and giving it a shot and learning something. Yes, I am just painting in my dirty old shop, so it won't be perfect, but when I wet sand it out and polish it, I feel like any dirt nibs I can eliminate. just about ready to start spraying some paint, and I wanted to show you a little tip that I seen on TikTok. This tape line here, you see how I've kicked it up like that? Supposedly the theory is turbulence is created. So if I'm spraying like the black or especially the clear, when it comes in here, it'll just waft around and it won't lay down a crisp line. I want to avoid any crisp build-up line. It's going to be hard to sand out after. So even though I'm going to be spraying only to the corner, there will be some overspray, and hopefully this turbulence will lay it down more in like a mist and stop it from getting way in deep there. I don't know. We're going to see if it works. So I have done it in all the different points around the car over here. Same thing, where I just kicked the tape up to cause that little bit of turbulence. It's amazing what you'll learn on TikTok, but let's just see if it pays off in the end. Same with right there. So I've just got to get rid of these other vehicles, one more wipe down, go get some painting clothes on, and well, maybe we'll clean up a little bit too first. So I was able to take a big chip up to Lordco to get an exact match of the Widowmaker's black paint. Today we're going to be spraying it 1 part paint, 1 part reducer. Got my filters, got my measuring cup. I think we have to wait, let's just have a quick look. Minimum 20 minutes for the clear. The guy did suggest waiting an hour, so I'm gonna wait 50 minutes to an hour before I start spraying the clear. Then we'll let it sit overnight. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to start wet sanding and polishing. We're going to be working on this right here, this scale, 1 to 1. I'm going to fill black up to number 6, and then we're going to go with reducer right up to there. We're going to have more than enough paint. Actually, that might even be too much. You know what? Better to have too much than to have to mix it twice. Here at the metal shop, we've got no shortage of stir sticks, so I think I'm ready to go. I guess I'll strain it into the gun. Okay, there's the first half. Don't mind the mess, I'm running out of time. It's about 9:30 at night right now. I really am trying to get this done so I'm a day ahead of the game. So I'm kind of skipping a few steps. And reducer. Right to the number 6. Bingo. I'm a little bit more familiar with this part. I've sprayed quite a few cars. Just never been taught the exact sequence to do a really nice job. I'm always winging it. Usually it turns out pretty good, but it's always a little bit nerve-wracking. So the last thing I want to see is some reaction when I start spraying the paint and, you know, it fish eyes or does something funny. You know, we are in a shop, usually a paint shop, like they would never spray, you know, any kind of WD-40 or any kind of cleaning products, aerosol cans into the air, because it could cause problems in paint. And here we are with just a ton of dirt and grime. So wish me luck. Okay, so don't laugh at me, but I ended up making up this apparatus here. I've got an airline that I only use for painting. I've got a nice filter here, water separator, and another filter there. Hopefully this is gonna be all it takes to give me nice clean air and a perfect paint job.
Metal beasts in the kingdom fierce, under roaring skies they pierce. Engines thunder, hearts ignite, every car prepared for the fight. Burn the rubber, feel the flames. Dubs Kustoms play no tame games. Goliath clouds, flirting with disaster. Torment screams keep pushing faster.
just laid down the third coat of clear on the Widowmaker. It's 20 to 2 in the morning. It's pitch dark outside. I have to wait 20 minutes to pull one piece of tape. So if I don't do it tonight, it's going to be tough to do tomorrow. This piece of tape right here on that crisp edge, I better stay up and pull that tonight. Because if that clear dries, it's going to be tough to pull tomorrow. So I'm going to wait for that. There's definitely a little bit of dust in the clear. I knew there would be. Nothing too serious. I'll be able to wet sand and polish it up tomorrow. It was an absolute success. Now, I would love to have a paint booth and to do all of this properly, but right now I just don't have one. So I'm doing what I can. I know it's not the proper way, but it's the only way I can do it at this point in time. I need to get things done, and that's what I'm doing. So don't criticize me for painting in my dirty shop. I knew I was going to get dirt in the paint, and that was just something I was going to have to deal with. I've been working on wet sanding the Widowmaker. I just didn't want to bore you with the hours of tedious work. I'm at 3,000 grit right now. I'm going to take it to 4,000 before I start polishing it back up to a luster, but it's looking really good. The blend is really starting to come around. It's right in here. You can just vaguely see it. Over here is my first repair. I've got all the dirt nibs out. You can see it's very smooth. Very happy with it. I've got to take the tire off because I can't quite get in around the corner. So that'll be next. I have touched up a couple of the deeper scratches up here on the top with a little bit of black, and I'm going to come back around and sand that with 3,000 grit. Just want to fill the scratch a little bit, and one right there. These are scratches that were already there when I purchased the Widowmaker back. This is my second repair. All the dirt nibs sanded out. It's very smooth. I am quite happy. For a rookie, I even impressed myself. So one more round, 4,000. We'll start polishing, get it back up to a shine, and I'll show you guys the final result. Point, I wanted to add one more thing to the Widowmaker. It took me longer to paint and clear coat this than it did to cut it out on my fast cut CNC table. But I think it's going to be worth the effort, as it's going to look so good. I got to make sure everybody knows this vehicle was built at Dub's Customs. In my opinion, it looks amazing.